Loading, loading, loading. Brr, 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 brr. Is this thing working? I don't know. It might be broken. Who knows? Boop boop doop. It might be broken. I don't know. It might be broken or it's working super good. I might never know if it's working or if it's super slow. It might be stuck on the loading screen forever. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Let's find out if we got a show. Internet. What's up, Internet? What's going on? Happy Wednesday to everybody. Oh my gosh. What a disaster. Whew. Feel like I'm sweating to the oldies over here. I feel like I'm jazzercising, you guys. Sorry about the late start here. Very, very, very much not on purpose. I had everything all lined up perfect, which should have told me. That should have been my first indication that it's going to be, something's going to go wrong. You know what I mean? If I feel like everything's working right, that's like something's going to go wrong. You know what I mean? So, long story short, for all you supercomputer nerds out there, basically, I edited the video segment down. Then I went to render the file, which you need to render the file to make all your edits work into one seamless edit and one nice looking video with the slow motion and the fast motion and the overlays and all that kind of stuff, and had that all perfectly set together, and it got to 97%. It got to 97%, and then there was some kind of corruption. I don't know. Typically, when that kind of stuff happens, I need to go back and check my edits and be like, oh, I don't know what happened to here, and just get rid of the corruption, then go back to rendering again. But when it comes to the live show it's coming. You know what I mean? Like, I got to make the deadline, and it did that about 4 minutes before 3 o'clock. Because I was like, looking at the render time, I'm like, man, we're going to make it. Everything's going to make it. It's going to work. It's going to be great. And then it was just sitting there at 97%. Not doing nothing. So, had to cancel it. And then basically had to transfer all the video files to a different spot so we'd be able to have a video segment today. You know, so needless to say, the video segment is going to be kind of junky, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that just means I'll probably end up taking the video from today, making it into another short video so you all can check it out later on, because I think it's all content that people would love to see. It's plant maintenance, working on my aquarium and that kind of stuff, planting some new plants, talking about some new plants. Today we're going to talk about some Colorata, Bacopa Colorata, which is, I wouldn't necessarily put this in my top favorite plants or anything like that. I feel like it's kind of a staple plant that just exists around. The easiest place to find it would be go outside. If you're in the United States, you could find this in a lot of the states, waterways and stuff like that. But if you're looking for it in the plant hobby for aquariums and stuff, I don't see it a lot on a lot of lists, you know, for sale. Probably because it's slightly restricted. I don't think you can ship it across state lines and stuff like that because it's invasive. In some areas, it's invasive, but a really cool plant that does grow a decent stem, probably 5 to 6 inches, and some pink coloring and stuff like that. So if you're somebody who's into stem plants that will throw a little bit of pink into your tank, this little video segment will be for you guys. I'm working. Okay, let me start out here. Today's been a little bit of a hectic day, not in a bad way. Actually, most things have been working out pretty well today, which means there'll probably be an earthquake or something. I don't know what's going to happen, but got up early this morning dealing with some house stuff. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story that happened last year. We purchased this house with what we would consider a pretty new roof. The roof was only 3 years old, pretty much new. But it turns out, after further inspection, we had a leak in the roof over there. Doesn't really matter where, but just over there, we had a leak in the roof. So we did a bit of a temporary fix. We put some buckets under there, kind of thing, just to keep any water from coming down into the ceiling and damaging the ceiling and stuff. I basically just used some giant plastic pans that I have for concrete work and stuff like that. So we put those up there. That was a great temporary fix. Then in the meantime, we hired a roof contractor last year to come in and do the repairs. Needless to say, $600 later, they didn't fix the right part and then never returned a phone call. Warning to everybody out there. This is another reason why I get a lot of bids. This is why I get a lot of bids. So I've recently been criticized for getting too many bids if we're doing a job, having air quote too many contractors come out, and it's wasting people's time. But just imagine how much of a waste of time it is for Vicky and I to go up and be doing roof repair in the winter after we already paid for a roof repair. Because at the time we were working on a lot of projects, didn't have time to really dig into it. And as much as I am a guy that knows tons and tons of stuff, like I know how a roof goes together, I know how a roof operates, but I don't have the as like a sports analogy, I don't have the reps. I don't have the reps in doing roofing to be super confident in the fact of like, oh yeah, I put everything up there perfectly. It's not going to be a problem. So we're going back to the pros. So now we're having to pay again to get the roof repaired, but we also needed to get some ventilation added to the roof. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not hugely proficient in roofing myself. So call out the pros, get a bid, get that stuff handled. Well, today was the day that stuff would get handled. So stripped off a big portion of the roof on the back side, found all the leaky area. Fingers crossed, none of the wood was damaged. Boom, we're pretty cool. So go ahead and re-roof that whole area of the roof. Then move on to adding the vents into the ceiling, because as you guys know, we've been adding insulation and doing all that stuff to the building here. So ventilation is really important. Insulation is really important. Getting that stuff done and moving right along. Now, on the good news is, paid the right guy, came out, everything done. Guy's already hit the road for the day. Got out here at like 7:30, got set up. He said it was going to be 7 hours of work, basically. It was 7 hours, and he was all done, wrapped up, cleaned up, and out of here. So pretty cool. So that's a really good deal. We got that done. That means we're going to be able to move closer to our goal of getting the insulation put in and all that kind of stuff. So that is a good deal. But as far as the show went today, boy, we hit the computer disaster right out the gate there. Yeah, and also, we hit that computer disaster right out the gate, and it has reminded me that I am running out of hard drive space, which is it's like the worst thing to have happen on a computer. You know what I mean? It's like, like there's just not enough space in the closet, like, oh, I've just got too many clothings. I've got too many outfits. I need more space in my closet. It's that kind of deal. Because the computer's working fine. It's just all the hard drives are getting full up with video and stuff. So I either got to delete things, or I got to order another hard drive, which blows right now. I'm just not looking forward to having to do that. But I think that probably has something to do with it. It's probably getting jammed too tight in the partition that I typically use for rendering. So, yeah, just probably have to order another drive, which is super lame. Which means I'm gonna have to shop around and find what's legit, find a good price, do all that stuff, and that's life. That's just life sometimes. I feel like if the CPU fries, it's like it's almost like a I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's almost like more tolerable where you're like, "Oh, I'm going to increase the awesomeness in my computer. I'm going to find the new CPU that fits in here when the prices come down." But the thing with like storage is that the price doesn't really come down. Let me see. Drives. Yeah, price has not really come down. Oh, wow, maybe price has come down. Oh, that's an external hard drive. That's not really going to work very well. Yeah, maybe it will. Well, there's a 2 terabyte drive for $60. So, actually, come to think of it, never mind. It has come down. Whew, that's good. That's less stress. That's less stress, my guy. My guys, my girls, everybody out there. That's less stress. That's not so bad. I could even get an 8 terabyte for $200. Okay. All right. I'm less stressed out about the hard drive thing. Okay. Never mind, you guys. Wipe off my brow. Not be too worried about it. Ed's Fish says, "Thank God you don't need a new video card. Those are nuts." Believe it or not, you guys, I do have a spare video card. So if my video card was to burn up, I could just reach right over there and get my spare video card, because I used to run dual video cards, which there's no real reason to do that anymore. So I actually do have a backup spare video card from it was actually from a different build that I did a while back. I'm not saying it's like an amazing video card or anything like that, but it works. It works good. It would probably take longer to do stuff or whatever, but it's really no like out of pocket thing. I could just steal the one from over there and be like, "Yeah, we're back on." Whereas hard drives, like, they just fill up and then they just are full. You know what I mean? So, but I realized I just looked online and I'm like, dude, a 4 terabyte one is like $100. So, that will probably work out pretty well. I'll probably not be like too worried at this point. Let's see. Yeah. Hold on. Hold my horses here. Hold on a second. Yeah. There we go. Copy. Yeah. Push. Yeah. So I mean that one's only like $100, $150 or whatever for like a 6 gig one. So that I might be not be too worried. But as far as like the video cards out there, I feel bad for people right now because people are like using people are using all the video cards now for mining Bitcoin, as Gillett just mentioned, and the prices have just gone totally ridiculous on video cards. So I'm not 100% sure what is going to work out with that, because it may never work out. It may never become okay ever again to try and buy a video card, because they might just be, super expensive forever, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? It's just super weird. But, all right, we got up to 85 people watching today. I guess it's a slow Wednesday. And then again, I didn't start on time. So that never helps. That never helps, you guys. If I can't get started on time, people don't know to show up. They're like, "Dude, we can't show up because you didn't start on time." And I'm like, "I tried, man. I tried. And then it broke. And then it was broken. And then I had to, oh no." But it is warm out again today. It has gotten warm out again today. So it is a beautiful, lovely day out here. So not all that stressed about it. We'll be doing the middle of the summer thing here with a lot of people on vacation and stuff like that. Maybe they're out dirt biking and and riding on boats and doing cool stuff. But I will say, first to the chat today, Mr. Frank Dominguez coming back wearing the crown. It was good to see that. That felt a little bit normal to me. It was for so long. Frank was always the first one to the chat. He's been being displaced by people like Dougie from the UK. Jad Orsey, I think, was first once. The Zombie Drummers here. We got Joel Gillett in the house. We got Kevin Keener's in the house. Candy Overholtz, Fancy Tail Aquatics. Says, I think you have to have at least 10% left on drives to work well for videos renderings. That's a good point. That is a great point. Yes, you do need to have 10% left if you're going to render video and stuff. So, I think that drive still has like... No, never mind. I have to clean that drive off. You're right. That's what I have to do. I have to clean that up. Which won't be a big deal. I'll just order another drive and just start transferring files right before I go to bed, and it won't be a big deal. Ed's Fish is here. KG Cichlids, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Where are we going? When's KG? When is KG coming up? That's my question. When's KG coming up to town? Alyssa Bentley says, my boyfriend just got a month contract with those Bitcoin companies. He's just hoping they pay him with money. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get paid in Bitcoin at this point. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I wouldn't want to be dealing with the conversion personally at this point. AJ Aquarium's here saying 2 question marks. I don't know what that means. But Frank is here. Soggy Pitts is here. Wushu Jimmy Brown, what's up? Licks Nibbles. Kyra Witt is here. Jeff Rose, Fish Keeping, I see you there. Dr. Black 66. Straya in the kickoff. What's up? Daryl Dimer is here. What's up, dude? Tampa Tom is here. What's up, my man? HC Aqua, Rocky's Rocky, Oddball Aquatics. Seeing a whole bunch of familiar faces, which is good, you guys. So since we got the familiar faces here, did everybody remember to share this out? Are we sharing? Is that what we're doing? Are we sharing is caring deal? I think sharing is caring is our deal around here, right? So we're trying to up the shares. We got 180 shares last month. We're trying to up the ante. We're trying to get to 200 shares this month. Which, hey, that doesn't sound like a lot, but we're only at 100. So over the last 28 days, we're down to 165 now. So all the talk about sharing and everything didn't do anything. That didn't even help. Oh, man. I figured talking about it would help a little bit, but I guess it didn't. Oh, we were doing so good. But now we're back to where we were before. Not a worries, though. I'm not worried about it. All right. Either way, it feels like it's 3:30, so let's get to this live video stuff. Like, who cares? This is my show, right? We just do what we want to do around here. We get to do what we want to do. Let's go to the video part. Oh, no, I can't control it because the whiteboard's turned on. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute here. Start at the beginning so that we have video going properly in the background. Brandon Duran says, I just shared, but I'm only one person. That's all it takes. That's all you need to be. You only need to be one person in order to share. Right? That's the way it goes. KG Sigler says, whenever I get a vacation and more monies, I would love to come over and be awkward with all of you crazy people. All right. Well, you figure it out. Oh, yeah, and I guess hit the like button, I guess. You guys are supposed to hit the like button. I guess it's a thing. Subscribe, blah, 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 all that nonsense. Let's just stick with the video. I feel better about the video. Let's talk personal stuff later, and let's do the video. HC Aqua's asking, when are you creating a miniature version of your 150? I am, to be brutally honest, I am waiting for some company to send me some test tanks. Really, honestly. And if no company ever sends me any test tanks, then I'm just going to keep saving all my money and doing whatever I can to like gather up pennies and stuff like that, and just replace the tanks I don't like in my fish room with like 120s, basically. That's my long-term plan right now, you guys. Just keep getting 120s, which is going to be a really long road. It's going to, if anybody out there thinks I got a lot of money to be buying 120s, I don't. But it's going to be a really long road, and I think, you know, like the first one I'm going to put on the credit card and start paying it off. But realistically, I would do smaller versions of the tanks and stuff like that. I just am not going to put money into nano tanks anymore. I you know, I had to come to the realization that, like, if I was going to do nano tanks, I can't just get in the habit of like buying them myself, because I'll end up with like 30 little nano tanks all over the place. And as much as I like love that, right? They as much as I love that, it's just not going to work out well. It didn't work out that well before. Not. All right, hold on a minute. Let me start over here a little bit. Let me start over with the fact that, like, they started to become like too much maintenance doing all these small tanks. And I consistently see a lot of people with these giant fish rooms with like 100 tanks or 200 tanks or something like that. And they don't even have time to like do any of the projects that they want to do, because they're consistently just, doing maintenance on all these tiny little tanks and stuff like that. I see a lot of creators hamstrung by the fact that they just have too many tanks set up. And to be brutally honest with you guys, like, there is some travel stuff that I want to do. And I don't want to be encumbering somebody with all this work while I'm gone, because typically a lot of that work will fall on somebody like Vicky, or I would need to employ somebody to come help out, with doing the maintenance and stuff like that while I'm gone. And house sitters aren't free, you know, so it just kind of adds to the cost and that kind of stuff. But, you know, so I'm sort of looking more along the lines of something that not necessarily doesn't need maintenance, but it's not something that, you know, like if water changes don't happen, then like if water changes don't happen or any of that kind of stuff, it's not going to be a big problem. Another reason why I do planted aquariums is because, you know, the plants are handling a lot of the negative stuff that will happen in the aquarium anyhow. Plants will compensate for a lot of that stuff, but, you know, I don't want to go back to having like 40 nano tanks or whatever it was, because there certainly was a point in time where my fish room got too big. It was too big and it was too many projects going on. And it meant that I wasn't able to do other projects, which I don't think realistically, like, if I'm going to keep doing YouTube and hopefully trying to build this YouTube community and stuff like that, or at least being a part of, building the YouTube community, right? Which that is my goal. That's my main goal, is to continue building the community bigger and bigger so we could keep doing more and more projects and stuff like that. I don't want to start doing stuff that's going to get 100% in the way of that. And getting a ton of nanotanks would probably do that. So I'm more focused on getting and doing what I consider to be the displays that blow my mind, and that's like the 120 footprint. The 120 footprint, like, when I see it, I'm like, that's the thing. The 150 is like that. It's just a foot longer. And I realistically, I would like to probably do some more 240s or bigger tanks or something like that down the line. But those are so expensive that it's just, I don't know if I'll ever get another 240 just because of that reason. It's just so expensive that's probably going to be the thing that stops me from doing any of that, realistically. KG Cichlid says, yeah, I had to trim my pogo stem on down all the way. Stuff grows inches a day at times. Yes, it definitely does. Gerald Wallace says, I couldn't do 100. I have 34. And all the water changes, it is still getting to be too much. It may go down to 20. Yeah, you know, I see a lot of people out there with just too many fish tanks. They have just too much. And, you know, realistically, when I say I see too many people, it's often like YouTube creators and stuff like that. Like people that, in my opinion, should be making YouTube videos or like engaging with people. You know, they're like busy doing water changes on an aquarium that like has nothing in it, basically. You know, and it's also one of those things that, like, you know, I definitely learned from. I learned a fair bit from working with Corey on his fish room, like building out his fish room, like automating all the water changes and stuff like that. Like that system can just sit there, you know, with the automatic water changes every day, all that stuff that's going on there. That realistically, those systems can sit there, you know, pretty much maintenance free. You know, it would be kind of stupid to tell me, like, come up with a number, but if it was sitting there for a week, I would not be stressed out about it. Fancy Tail Aquatics says, do you know how to make PVC aquariums safe? I made logs and painted with acrylic. How do I seal it so nothing leaches? Okay, well, PVC is aquarium safe, first of all. Schedule 40, Schedule 80, ABS, all that stuff is... It is aquarium safe. It's not leaching anything into the water, so I wouldn't be stressed out about that. But you painted with acrylic, and then you're putting it into the aquarium. If you want to paint something or something like that, and then put it into the aquarium, the easiest way for us hobbyists, us people that are going to do it ourselves, right, would actually be a two-part epoxy. Two-part epoxy can be, you can get that at Lowe's, you can get that at Home Depot, whatever hardware store. And then you could just check out like a little YouTube video of how to mix it properly, because you have to pour A in, you have to pour B in, then mix them in one container, then add them into a different container. It's not that big of a process, and then you're going to have to actually like dip it and apply it and then allow it to cure fully. Dude, who is calling me right now? Let's see who it is. Oh. Who is this? I'm going to call him right back. Let's see, guys, check this out. Somebody's calling me during the show. Who is it? I wonder who it is. Who is this? Hello? 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 Oh, they left a message. I wonder who it is. Let's see. We're going to find out, guys. I bet you it's a salesperson, because it's 3:40. This is normally when I get... It's a salesperson. It's 3:40. So I have deep suspicions on who it is that sold my phone number. I bet you, I would bet at this point in time, I would bet $200 on a 1-to-1. I would bet 200. Hey man, it was me. I dropped the phone. Bitty Brown. Hey man, who you barking at? Let me go find out. What are you doing? Who you barking at? I dropped the phone. Come on. I'm going to call this the Wednesday Disaster Show, you guys. But I would bet 1-to-1, $200. I'm not really a gambling guy, but I would bet $200 that the people that sold my phone number was that wacky insurance company I was dealing with. And you know what, guys? I really have to say that I really, 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 really have to say I want to publish their information, but I'm not going to do it. I really want to, because those guys really, they really wrenched me over the barrel, and it was, you know, and I think they sold my information because I was not getting these calls before I had to sign up for their app to do the damage appraisal for them. I don't know if you guys know about this in the United States now, that like if someone else crashes into you, their insurance can make you like take the pictures of your car and stuff and then send it into them so that they can lowball you with some crazy tiny amount of money that they want to charge for you. So I was not getting these phone calls before that, and now I get them. And I'm not going to. I'm just saying that I want to. Yeah, I'm not actually going to. I'm just saying that I want to. I'm like I feel like I want some payback, and I'm just expressing the fact that I have feelings and I have emotions. I'm not actually going to follow through on them. I'm just kind of venting a little bit and, just allowing you guys to know. Sometimes the imperfect brain that I have has thoughts like this, but instead of acting on them, I think, you know what? What would be more constructive? I'm going to go trim the plants in my aquarium. That would probably be a better thing to do. Speaking of that, more video. Yes. All right. Now, I had this really cool little overlay part and everything that was like, that was letting people know that, like, Bacopa Colorata, that's what we got going in here. After the rendering fail of the computer, of the rendering of the video, this is what we got now, guys. We have to go all super ghetto style. So maybe I'll type it in. Oh, it's in the name. Oh, it's in the title. So either way, there it is. If anybody needs to Google search it, you guys can run over to the Google Wikipedia page. Bacopa's a pretty easy plant, I would say. If there was an easy, medium, and hard, I would put Bacopa in as the easy plant. Now, the slight difficulty that comes in with Bacopa is as it gets taller, it really starts to send out aerial roots. And if you don't know what aerial roots are, they're the roots that will like grow out of the stem of the plant, which ends up looking aesthetically really nasty. It just doesn't look that great. So oftentimes I'll get questions of people of how to deal with those. And the easiest way to deal with that, trim the top, replant the top, pull the base out. Very simple. I think probably 10 years ago or something like that, I learned that from Tom Barr. He was talking at something I was at, and he was like, yeah, just trim the tops off, replant them, and pull the base, and just keep going like that with your aquascape. And I do realize after many, many years being able to actually go to his house and look at how he does it in person, and the verification of it is like, I mean, I've done it that way for a long time, and I verified it on my own side. But honestly, looking at his tanks, I was like, man, I've still got a long ways to go, which is, in my opinion, I think a good thing, because if I ever feel like I've mastered something, I feel like I don't want to do it anymore. I don't really, I don't necessarily know what's wrong with me, but that's just kind of how my brain works. I just get like, I'm not interested anymore if I feel like I've mastered something. Like, I don't have anything for example right now. I wish I had a really good example that I could give you guys, but I don't have one. But that definitely is kind of like how my brain starts to feel about stuff. And I think that a lot of people think that maybe that's how I was feeling about nanotanks. No, that's not the case. I think the nanotanks that's just too many projects for me to work on. You guys will notice that I had that fish painting back there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks or something like that. I haven't even touched it. I just haven't had time running around doing all the stuff that I'm going to do or all the stuff that I'm doing. And here's the deal. I think most people have this thought process of like, well, once I get this thing done, then I'll have plenty of time. I do not have that illusion. I just constantly feel like I'm super... I'm super super, super, super busy, and I'm always going to be super busy. I'm never going to not be super busy. So, but, you know, I guess maybe I'm just sharing too much personal stuff and should probably just talk about plants, right? But anyhow, I learned that from Tom Barr of how to basically how to mitigate aerial roots is pull the top, trim the top of the plant off. So like, let's say it's 12 inches tall, take the top 4 inches portion, cut that off, and replant the top portion that you've cut off. Now take the base and pull the base out and put that somewhere else. For me, that's actually super easy because I just put the tops back down into the sump, let them re-sprout, right? Then I cut the tops off of those from the sump, then I plant those in the tank, right? So I sort of just have this never-ending supply of like, oh, maybe I want more of this, maybe I want less of that, maybe I want more of this. And I never really have to make that decision because, like, even these crypts I'm pulling out of the aquarium right now to make more space, they're going down into the sump. So it's like I don't ever have to really stick anything into the compost. I just eventually I'll get to a point where it's like Bradley was here this last weekend. I was like, any of these plants down in the sump, other than that one, because I have some very specific plants that I haven't brought up to show you guys yet. I was like, any of these other plants you want, just grab as much as you want, So that's the kind of that stuff makes me super happy. And yet another reason I should probably make another sump video that's like sumps. It's how you give plants to your fish fam friends, right? And then people will be like, you need to stop singing and shave your beard off and you suck. And I'll be like, you're right. But it's okay. So maybe I'll do that one. But RJL saying, I throw away Bacopa by the pound. Yeah, that's really one of the things with Bacopa is that it really will do that. The straight green variety is kind of, I'm not saying it's necessarily boring to me, but it does kind of just, yep, it's there, doing that thing, okie dokie, growing all over. But the Colorata actually kind of is a little more exciting to me because it does get this nice pink coloring to it, and I've never seen Colorado grow like 24 inches tall, right? So I've only ever seen it grow about 12 inches tall is kind of the most that I've ever seen it. Maybe it's because I'm crazy and I'm always cutting them off. But the Colorado doesn't seem to grow as all tall and wacky like the standard strain does. But who knows? Like I said, that could just be coming from my super. Maybe I've got like just a ton of light going in there, and maybe that's the deal. But you never know. Ed's Fish says, I got to try some of that. My beginner Anubias plants are crazy boring. Well, Ed, now you've engaged the whiteboard, my bro. We have the whiteboard coming at you. Okay, we've got right here Anubias. We've got right here Anubias, Nana Petite. This right here, Nana Petite, Nana Petite, Nana Petite. Always been and probably always will be one of my favoriteest plants. Now, I will tell you, they are boring in the fact that they do grow quite slowly. I will agree. That they do grow quite slowly, but a good amount of CO2, get them in a good light. They will start to grow fairly rapidly, like this Nana Standard is growing back here. You see this whole brand new leaf going up right there that I just covered up? This thing is sending out leaves, and there's another one back here, another one here, another one here, and another one going back over there. It's sending out leaves. The standard Nana here is sending out at least a leaf every 3 days, like going up about this tall. So if you get them in the right spot, get the right amount of fertilizers in there, doing the right water changes and stuff like that, they will grow rather quickly. The Nana Petites may or may not be doing the same thing, but they're so small. That it's just, you might not notice them. You know what I mean? And but the Anubias has been always one of my favorite plants forever. It almost always has been. But yes, it is a little bit of a does grow a little mind-bogglingly slow, but that's one of those. It's just one of those things. Devin Pepper's asking, what's your top 5 low-light plants that grow crazy fast? Well, typically low-light plants don't grow crazy fast. That's just kind of the thing about low-light plants. They just don't grow all that crazy fast. Like these crypts will really fill in, and they're fairly low light. They don't need a ton of direct light on them for them to do well. They won't grow all crinkly and cool like these are right now. They'll grow kind of bland like these leaves right here. So these leaves right here are actually, I think that's a little bit of Java fern creeping over. I think that's what that is. I think that's what this is right here. Can't really tell from the video. But I'm pretty sure that's what's going on coming over there. But in the low light, the leaves will just grow kind of bland. They won't have all the crinkly in the veins and kind of the green and the dark colors and all that stuff. But they will, before you know it, they'll have spread all over the place and grown in. They'll grow pretty quick. But it's definitely one of those things that the low-light plants generally don't grow crazy fast. It's just kind of the nature of them sort of sitting around down in the dark. They don't grow all that fast. So, but I would say personally your best bet would be to go with some crypts and stuff like that. My favorite crypt that carpets is Cryptocrine parva. Parva would be the one that you're looking for that. But that also needs a fair bit of light. I also, though, wouldn't be super, although I wouldn't be super stressed out about whether or not your tank qualifies as highlight, medium light, or low light. You just want to be supplying enough light so that the plants can grow well and photosynthesize, and you'll be fine. I oftentimes I get this question a lot, like, does my tank qualify as highlight? And, nowadays in the world of LED, it's not really that big of a... There's really no quantifier or qualifier like there used to be because of the way that LEDs operate is different from some of the more traditional lighting styles like T5s and T8s and stuff like that we used to use, fluorescent bulbs and things. The LED, the light emitting diode, and then going through a lens is actually way more directional. Okay, so it's actually directing a lot of the light exactly where you want it to be. And what would have been considered low light in the past probably qualifies as medium, or maybe even instead of medium rare, maybe it's medium well, right? Like just the way that it's more directional and it's actually hitting where it wants to go. And it looks different to our eyes too. So you can't really get the eye test anymore. It doesn't really work all that well because back in the day, you just look, man, it's wicked bright in there. It's probably high light. Nowadays it could be putting in a lot of light at a real specific spectrum and not reflecting a ton of light into your eyes. So, that's going to be kind of, it's going to be kind of weird unless you have a par meter to really figure out, like, if you have crazy high par in there or whatnot. But the LED lights also affect the par meters differently. They do affect the par meters differently than the more traditional, like, fluorescent lights and stuff like that. Ooh, one thing if anybody knows what a QD clip is, I got mine. I got mine in the mail, of which I'm excited. And I was just fiddling with it. Wanted to let people know what I was fiddling with. All right, we got to move on to the next video segment, which means I got to turn off the whiteboard, stroll down here, then click on that. All right, so the big portion of that last video, what I was doing is actually moving some of the crypts out of the way. People keep asking what kind of crypt is that. That's Wendetii. Vendetii. Is that right? I'm probably spelling it wrong. There are different color varietals in my tank. Don't worry about it too much. Just get some Crypt Vendetii. Figure out what you got. Give it different fertilizers. They'll change color. They'll do all that kind of stuff. Just get the Vendetii green, the Vendetii red, that kind of stuff. You'll be fine. You'll get some really cool plants out of them. Plus, everybody's water conditions are a little bit different, so they're going to grow a little bit differently. And your lights are different than mine, and your fertilizers are different than mine. So bear in mind, you're not necessarily going to get the exact plants that I have going on, because your maintenance schedule, at the very least, would be different than mine. So, get the Vendetii, grow it, see how it grows in your area, then kind of tweak it from there. But it's definitely one that will do quite well. Ooh, we do have some questions here. Hold on. I'm going to pause this for a second, and let's turn on the whiteboard. The whiteboard is on. Who's that? Ed's Fish says, oh, that one plant is flowering. This plant right here is flowering. This plant right here is flowering. This plant right here is flowering. Who can say what these plants are down here? That's the Bacopa brownie. That's some little brownies down there, and they're doing quite well, sending out flowers and stuff like that. Just growing them pretty big. Why is everybody laughing? Did I draw something weird? Did I draw something weird? Okay, I drew that. I drew that. I drew that. I drew that. Then I drew this. Then I drew this. Oh, no, I have the whiteboard engaged. I drew on my own face. Let's turn that off. I'll move myself back over here. Okay, cool. So that is what's going on there. Ed's Fish needs help with the spelling of Bacopa. If somebody could spell that out for him, that'd be great. Seatown says, check out Crypt Nuri or Petki. I don't know which that one is, but Crypt Nuri is awesome. Crypt Nuri is an awesome plant. I've been trying to get some. I had a line on some Crypt Nuri, and then it disappeared. All right, guys, I'll look it up. What? Put my fingers on the keyboards wrong. Let's see here. I don't want to accidentally try to send you guys to a let me see here. Is that right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, hold on a second. Copy. Paste. All right, there you go. There. There's the right spelling, I think. Who knows? You guys watch me Google search so I can answer it for you. Most people call it Boos, but the traditional saying of it is the Bacopa Colorata is where it's from Borneo, and that's how they that's basically what they call it. And then we bring it over here and we write the name out and then we pronounce it weirdly. So most people call it a Bucephalandra now, which is fine. It's just nature of the thing. Okay, so we got some new things going there. We got some new things going there. Okay, back to the video stuff. Now, one of the big things that I need to do is clear out some of the crypts that were in the way so I could make myself a nice little pocket that's going to be right in front of that rock right there. Gosh, I feel like I should have the whiteboard out. Nope, stop doing the whiteboard. Let's just talk about what's going on. Okay. So I needed to clear out some area because I like to plant my plants into nice bunches and then keep them bunched up in the nice area as even as the scape matures. The crypts in this tank are the free roaming plant that are filling in certain areas. The crypts are the sacrificial plant that come in this tank. It's basically the plant that needs to get out of the way. It's basically the plant that needs to get out of the way whenever something else has to move around. But that is the nature of often how I run my tanks. The ground cover I more often than not use in the backs of my tanks than the non-carpeted areas, basically. I normally use crypts to fill in and kind of add to the depth of the tank, right? I kind of want to add to the depth of the tank by there sort of being a low area of like foliage, you know what I mean? So if it's if I was to look into a forest, right, you see all the trees standing up and stuff like that, and then there's all this kind of scrub brush that grows between like that 3 and 7 feet, you know, area. That's pretty much what I'm doing with the crypts. Like I let the crypts fill in all those spots whereas we have all the other plants growing up above. That's sort of that's basically one of the styles that I do on a regular basis. Like it's just kind of the way that I do it. I don't know why. I just like it. I like it that way the best. It makes me feel like, yeah, that definitely has sort of it basically has that sort of feel that that I'm going for the tank. Once I have it sort of set up and established, those crypts will really fill in and sort of make that little lower foliage area and make me feel kind of like, yes, I am sort of looking at this little wooded area. I mean, obviously, I'm really not. I don't think I'm looking at a forest. I don't think I even do that great of a job to even emulate a forest. But I can really kind of suspend disbelief for a little while and just kind of look into the tank and kind of think like, yeah, just all the critters are living in there. There's a lower coverage area where shrimp and all that kind of stuff can hang out, kind of chill, fish fry, all that kind of, all the little kind of vulnerable critters can get down low, and they aren't going to be spotted by, you know, bigger predatorial type stuff. They're going to feel more comfortable. And that's generally speaking what I'm trying to do with an aquarium anyhow is make, you know, I'm almost often never doing a predator style tank. It's one of the big reasons that I don't do, you know, big cichlid tanks or anything like that. I just don't do those types of tanks, mainly because, you know, I'm in my head, I'm all about taking care of a lot of the little stuff, the little bread stuff, the shrimps, the fry, that kind of stuff. That's where it's just where my brain goes. It's where I like to focus. It's one of the things I like to focus on. So my scapes are kind of built that way, and I normally use the crypt to fill in all the ground cover. But there's, like I said earlier, because of my sumps and stuff like that, it's never really like a sacrificial plant going to be hitting the compost or anything like that. If I do sacrifice some plants, I normally just feed them to the chickens. The chickens are always happy to eat all my extra plants. But I normally don't sacrifice anything because I just keep them down in the sump and then trade them on to people. Bentley Pascal is in the chat. A quick reminder to everybody, if you haven't checked out, I did a little fish room tour of the old Bentley Pascal's fish room. And you guys should definitely go check that out if you get a chance. I think it came out pretty well. I don't know. I hope you guys liked it. I felt like I put in a bunch of work to get it right, and it felt like it was pretty good, right? Now, I should be able, let me see here. Now, I don't know if anybody went to go subscribe to Bentley or not. We're going to find out because Bentley's here. We're going to ask him if anybody went to subscribe. Okay, last time I checked, he had 330. Now he has 400. So somebody did. Somebody went to subscribe to check out his channel. Okay. Oh, I almost thought I wasn't. I almost thought that I wasn't subscribed, and I was gonna have to subscribe. It's like, no, it is. But yeah, check out that video if you like. Share it out to somebody if you don't like. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like that, because that realistically is one of the long-term goals. Be able to try and get, like one of those out a week. That's really one of those things that I would like to get one of those videos out a week. I don't know if that's even possible, but long-term goals. You got to have those long-term goals. You definitely do. Somebody is having a staghorn infestation. Any tips on how to get rid of it? Okay, first of all, you've got an issue. You've got an issue that you are. What I'm trying to think of what the deficiency is, but you're gonna have to figure out what the deficiency is. The only times I have staghorn is when I have a deficiency of something, and I have. By the way, I have staghorn right now. I'm battling like as hard as I can in the 240. The 240 has staghorn like crazy, and a big part of that is because I dosed with the Colorata. If you guys don't know what Colorata is, think Marimo moss balls, right? So I broke up a Marimo moss ball, broke that into my system. That went all crazy, okay? That went all crazy and has started growing like nuts on all my driftwood in there, which realistically was the plan. That was the plan. That part worked. Now, the side effect of that plan working, which I don't think I really had the foresight to even really, I really didn't necessarily, I didn't have, I didn't really have the foresight to think about it. I just really didn't think about it at the time, but, the big time side effect of having done that is staghorn algae, which sucks. Now, one of the things that I have found most recently in that aquarium is that my CO2 is running out. So my CO2 is running out, and the biggest problem, the CO2 timer is not working properly. So the light timer that I utilize to time my CO2 with is dead. So I had to put a new timer on there, and then shortly 2 days later, I ran out of CO2, which I have to go fill up. I still have to go fill that up. So first of all, I would take a chance. If you don't have CO2, see what you can do to get into some CO2. That's going to be one of the big helpers for you. One of the other things to do would be to down your photo period a little bit if it's too long. But with the CO2, should hopefully kick your plants back into gear and starve out the staghorn, which realistically is the way I'm going about it. And then the other thing to do is manually remove it. So go to the 99-cent store, buy yourself a package of a whole bunch of toothbrushes. The dollar store, if you ever been to the dollar store, go to the dollar store, buy yourself a bunch of cheapo toothbrushes. That is the best tool in your arsenal for removing staghorn. You're able to grab it with the toothbrush, swirl it up and yank it off, swirl it up, yank it off, and you can just keep going around the tank, yanking it out, yanking it out, yanking it out. The manual removal sounds like a big pain. It's still a little bit of a pain, but at least it is one that you can manually remove. So I look at the bright side for that. That is something that I can manually remove. So I look at the bright side of that, basically, is that it's like, oh, I can manually remove this fairly easily. So, it might take a little while, but that's just the nature of things sometimes. Rory with the £5 super chat says, "Hey Joel, always watch when possible, love it. You think I could add a centerpiece fish to my 15-gallon with 12 neons and 2 guppies? Thanks, my man." I think you could, depending on the system that you got going on, but I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would personally with the 15-gallon. What I would do personally is I would take the guppies out and I would bump the neons up a lot. That's what I would do, is I'd keep adding neons until you had a ton of them in there. I think that would be kind of the more rewarding thing. The guppies will eventually breed, that's for sure. And you will end up with a bunch of those. So you might end up getting overrun with those guys, but oh, very sorry, Rory. Yes, that is euros. Sorry. I was reading it quickly. My bad. But some people mentioned beta in the tank, or in the comments there. If I had a 15-gallon, it would be virtually impossible for me to not stick some type of beta in there. They're one of my favorite fishes of all time, so I probably would have a beta in there, probably personally. I went with gouramis a long time ago and wasn't super happy with them. Like, other than like a honey gourami, like you might be able to get a honey gourami in there. But yeah, there are some fish that you could definitely do, but I personally would just up the army of neons in there. That's what I would do. Brian Schurman is here. Yay! Made it for once while I'm still live. Yeah, made it live. You got to make it. You got to make it worthwhile and hit the like button for Megan Ness. That's what you need to do. You need to hit the like button, and then of course, you know, sharing is caring, right? Sharing is caring. Oh, yeah, right. People are gonna freak out because I was loud into the mic, and I'm sorry about that. I just get excited about sharing, you guys. Really, I really do. But you know, if I had some guppies in that tank, I would consider rehoming the guppies, even if you were gonna add a beta or something like that, because they're gonna breed. They're gonna throw a lot of fry and stuff like that. And I would just personally want to just give them a little bit of a better space where they could just do their crazy guppy thing. You know what I mean? And just be guppies and just live out their days doing guppy stuff. Let's see. Savannah the Aqualama says, literally every tank I have a beta in, I love them. Well, I agree. I can't argue with you on that one. It's definitely a good way to go. I love betas too. All-time favorite fish, probably betas, honestly. Honestly, they're the ones I definitely spent so many years like breeding and all that. Love betas a lot, that's for sure. Rogue Aquariums with the $4.99 tip into the old tip jar. Well, thanks, you guys. As you guys know, this show wouldn't be possible without super generous fans like you guys kicking in on the Patreon, kicking in on the super chat, all that kind of stuff. It definitely does. I think that it does from time to time get a little bit depressing when, you upload a video, you put, 20 hours of work into the thing, you upload it, and it gets, who's to say? Let's say it gets 900 views or something, right? I know that there are a lot of people out there with small channels, and I don't want them to be offended because oftentimes they feel like they're getting their toes stepped on when I'm like, oh, my video only got 900 views or something. They're like, I would kill somebody for 900 views. It's like, don't kill someone for 900 views because it's only $1 or like 92 cents or something like that when it comes down to it. So that kind of stuff is pretty depressing at times, but because of the Patreon, because of people like Rogue Aquariums throwing into the tip jar, that's just like how we make this happen. There's 315 people on the Patreon kicking in. You know what I mean? Like, that's not that's like as big as some people's high school graduating class, 315 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a lot of awesome people contributing in once a month. And that's amazing. Priscilla MK Art is balling today, saying keep up the good work for $5. Well, thank you guys. Super generous, man. Super generous. Thanks. It is Wednesday. It was a little bit of a cluster to get the show rolling here today, but I think we got something going on here that was, I don't know if I feel like, boy howdy, we got the job done, but we did get something. We got something going here, and it's not the worst thing ever. It definitely has some planted aquarium video stuff going on. So, you know, we'll just take the good where we can. You know what I mean? And this is just a good situation. It's pretty cool. 100 people showing up on a middle of a Wednesday in the summertime. You know, it's beautiful. It's lovely out there, you know. KG says sometimes the video will float for a while and then somehow YouTube recognizes it. Then all of a sudden it takes off like a rocket. I've never had that experience, you guys. I have never had that experience. I've only had one air quote viral video, and that was a Sump video that just slowly got a that is a Sump video that slowly but surely got about 100 views a day, and eventually got to like 150,000. I don't have anything that's ever hit 1 million. I think 150, 180,000 is the most I've ever had on a video, which I'm super, I'm super appreciative that I just have this ability to even do this and post it up here and share it with anybody. So, I'm like, totally cool. I'm totally cool with it realistically, but it is kind of depressing sometimes when you're like, oh, I did all that work and it made 93 cents. It just is. That's just the nature of things, that you're like, I made 9 cents an hour. It just could make anybody a little bit depressed. That's just real. That's real talk, you guys. But during the show here, Elias Garcia Vargas jumping up on the Patreon from $1 to $5. Well, thank you. That's also one of the cool things I like about the Patreon, is that you're able to adjust as you feel the need. Maybe you're balling hard this month and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go up to $5 because I can, because I'm a baller. I dig it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Elias. I almost called Elias Eddie, and that was going to be wrong. But thanks to everybody for coming out today. I don't know. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about, and now it's getting kind of boring because I'm just rambling on about nothing. So maybe we'll just call this the last 5 minutes of the show, answer some questions and stuff, and maybe we get all squirrely here, and we'll pick it back up. I ran out of Mr. Brown's, you guys. Maybe that's my problem. I just don't have any coffee. So maybe that's the problem. So I'm honestly thinking, like, maybe I need to go to the store, right? Meow. I might need to go to the store. I had the epic highs of, like, how good everything was working and how edited everything was going to be, and I was all excited for it, and then it fell apart. We did recover, though. I think we recovered. Oh, Tabitha Holtz. This is the first time I've ever seen you in the chat. Hold on. We got a message from Vicky Toria. And by the way, sorry, guys. I don't mean to answer my phone during the show or anything like that. All right, Vicky just sent me something super weird, so I don't know. Let's answer some questions here, and we'll get rocking and rolling. Tabitha Holtz, is the first time I've seen you in the chat. Is it first time, long time? I like it. First time, long time. I always love the first time, long time. But Tabitha Holtz says, I have a 10-gallon cycling with plants frogbit subwasser tang. Anubius, Java Moss, and Hornwort, and Eco-Complete after 3 weeks. My API test strip is still showing nitrates and nitrites. Okay, is that your question? Okay, I'm guessing that... Let me parse this together. From that information, I'm wondering if you think that it is cycled. Your cycle is not complete. If you are showing nitrites, if you still have nitrites, you are not cycled yet. Do not add fish. Do not do anything like that. But after 3 weeks, your plant's, your tank's still developing. Things are going along. And do not be concerned. Just keep going the same way that you were going. Keep doing your water changes probably once a week. Something like that. I would consider just keeping going. Stay patient. Everything's going to be fine. But as soon as you start getting those nitrites going away, that's when you'll know that you're starting to get your tank fully cycled and things are starting to work out the way that you want them to go. Right? Once you get to your cycle, once the nitrites drop away, the nitrates, don't ever really worry too much about the nitrates. If you have a planted tank and you have proper lights on there, the plants will chew through those nitrates pretty rapidly. So I would also consider that the Java moss, the hornwort, the frog bit and stuff like that will suddenly start growing like crazy if your nitrates get really high up. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Rogue Aquarium says, talk about your 120. My 120, I'm building a very complete video about the 120 gallon that has come in. I do hope to, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that I do hope to get some more of them. We shall see how that pans out. It is quite a bit of money to try and get all that together, but hopefully we can figure it out. And I'm thinking that the next one that is going in is just going to go on my credit. I think that's how that's going to have to go. Because I think if I throw it on the credit card, it would give me like 5 weeks to pay it off. Because it wouldn't even be here for like 5 weeks. It's the long turnaround for a local builder because he's super, super busy. It's not that he can't make tanks quickly, it's that he's super busy. And speaking of super busy and him building tanks, he just got done building a 500 gallon for Rogue Aquariums, which, by the way, you guys, we got to keep bugging him because once that thing is up and running, I want to get over there. I might even want to go over there before, maybe for the test fill or something like that. I don't know, because I've seen it. I have seen it in person when I went to pick up my tank, and it is awesome. And I did see a Facebook video of them unwrapping the plastic off of it yesterday, so it is a dope tank, and I'm pretty excited. Neil with the $5 super chat saying, aiming for that tip jar. Well, thanks, Neil. Very much appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. John Gonzalez says, talk about space pants. Space pants. Well, Gwen Stefani and the other guy on Saturday Night Live ruined that for everybody. So we can't talk about space pants anymore. Thanks, Gwen and the other guy from the Game of Thrones. I do have some coffee here today, but I kind of made it like tea. I didn't make it like all super thick like I normally like it. Rory says, dude, I log on here from Ireland just to hear your thoughts and to hear other Fish Fam comments. I enjoy it 100. Don't stop. All this helps so much, Joel. Keep at it, man. Much love from Ireland. Yes, I will keep at doing the show. That's for sure. That is a thing. I kind of feel like we were over the hour mark, and sometimes I feel like I just ramble on about just nonsense. If I just kind of just run out of stuff to talk about, and then that's typically when I get emails later on that people are like, dude, WTF, what's wrong with your brain? You know, kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, you're probably right. Master Beta, Peter Dinklage is right, not Jon Snow. But, dude, who is super excited for the new Game of Thrones, the finale? I'm super excited for the finale. I'm freaking out, you guys. James Wells is wondering what size sump on the 120. thinking about putting a sump on his 120. Honestly, I'd have to measure my sump. It's from my reef tank. I'm reusing all of the equipment from my reef tank, you guys. So everything basically from the reef is going to be moving into that majestic brand new tank. So I'm not really buying anything. There won't really be any unboxing except for the lights. That'll be the only thing that's happening. The tank will be sponsored by Fluval. So if anybody's wondering about that, Fluval's tripping all the way to the point where, well, I would love to say that if us harassing them is what led them to do it, it really was personally talking to the guy in Germany, or I was like, send me some lights for my reef. And he was like, what? You need lights for your reef? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay. All right. So he ended up, they're just going to ship him to the aquarium co-op. Oh, speaking of the aquarium co-op, man, if you guys buy something from the aquarium co-op, you guys should head through my affiliate, because that completely died a lot. I don't know. I don't know that anybody's even buying anything at this point in time. But I did see a thing this morning at the aquarium co-op. Oh, hold on. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Let me see here. I'm looking for something here. Oh, is it out of stock already? Wait, hold on a minute. I don't know. Is this... Holy. I want this one. Hold on a second. What's the deal here? No, I want that one. And I want that one. Hold on. Okay, add to cart. Oh, you guys. Okay, all right. I got something here. Okay, hold on a second. This is going to take a minute, because I should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. So y'all just going to have to wait a second while I get the link for you, because hopefully I haven't mentioned what it is that I wanted to do here. Hold on. Okay, why is this stupid thing working? There it is. It was not working because I was doing it wrong. All right, there we go. Copy. Then I have to go over to this other program so I could put it in. Where'd it go? Oh, you guys, this is stressing me out a little bit. This is the most boring part of the show ever. Like, it stresses me out that, like, this part of the show is boring. Right? And, like, I'm not even listening to the show. Like, I'm on the show. Okay, there we go. Click on that link right there, and it's going to take you to something that you might be excited for. Because I saw that earlier. And I really think you should click on that link. It's going to take you to something at the aquarium co-op that I think is pretty cool. I don't want to say what it is, because then people will be like, I heard what it was and I didn't click on the thing. Okay, it's the affiliate link that will take you to the aquarium co-op. They have red hats. Red hats came in. And they have small, medium hats and large hats, extra large hats now. Which I literally am going to probably just buy the small medium hat. I like that one because it fits super tight on my dome. The like large, extra large hats, they get like super loose, and then because it's a flex fit, it's a flex fit hat. It'll get floppy, and then anytime it's windy, it goes flying off. But red hats are in at the aquarium co-op, and I have no idea how long they're going to be around. I know that Corey told me they're only getting a few of them, limited supply, whatever you want to call it. Order them up. I'd order them up and get it. Because if it's available, I'd order it and get it. I'm probably going to just go up there in person and get one myself. I'm just going to like go in there and be like, I'm in here. Do 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 do. Beeloo, 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 boodoo. Rory, I wish you could order too. It's just so crazy to try and get the international shipping done. As you guys know, I sent out some paintings a while back that went international, and boy howdy, like I went backwards paying some of that international shipping and stuff to ship from the States to the other parts of the world. Like even just the States to Canada was all super expensive. I could have like probably driven them there for cheaper than it cost to ship them there. 54 Punchy with a $5 super chat saying, just made my first $25 selling fry I raised to the local fish store. Kind of stoked about that. That's awesome. That is awesome. I wish I could figure out when the first time it was that I sold some fish to the fish store or plants to the fish store or something like that. I honestly can't remember the first time I did it. I wish I knew. You know what I mean. Alyssa Bentley says she says, I would be afraid it was another kind of red hat, if you know what I mean. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. That was the first thing that crossed my mind is like, I don't know if I want to wear that red hat because people might think I was wearing a politically based hat of which I do not want to affiliate with. And if you're super mad at me about that, feel free to be super mad at me because I don't want to associate with that nonsense. Feel free. Feel free to feel the way you want to feel. But don't try to yell at me. Don't try to yell at me and convince me otherwise. That's all chaos. That's all chaos, and I don't need that chaos in my life. I don't need those bad feelings. I don't need any of those weird ideas. I don't need it. Don't need it, bros. Don't need it. Love the conversations. Love the conversations. But if somebody want to be yelling at me and stuff, I ain't into it. I'll just walk away. I gotta have something else to do. Speaking of something like that, a good friend of mine, Rebecca, shared a statistic earlier today, and I wanted to mention it. That this is something that I've read recently also, that she shared that by 2040 or so, 70% of Americans will live in 15 states. So that's 70% of the population will be living in only 15 of the states, meaning 30% will choose only meaning 30% will be choosing 70 senators, and the 30% will be a much different group than what you're thinking in comparison to the 70%. And obviously that's it's a weird statement. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it did spur on a little bit of the conversation that I was like, like that statistic right there doesn't mean to me that we got to freak out and do anything. I think we need more people that are willing to move out from the cities and stuff. I've recently had a lot of conversations with people that are like, it's more efficient for people to be living in really dense populations. And I'm like, okay, first of all, if that's what you think efficiency is, you're wrong. And second of all, to be completely uninvolved in anything that's keeping you alive in your life, I mean, maybe you think that's efficient or whatever, but I think that that's not a good way to be living your life. I think you guys know personally, it's one of the reasons I've been doing the garden vlogs and stuff like that, is to try and be an actual to be more and more of an actual representative of what I think people should be kind of doing some of in their life. I don't think it's possible for people to necessarily make all of the stuff that they use. You guys know I'm a technology enthusiast. I love all that. I love all that stuff. I love the internet. I love all these things. But I don't think it's a good idea for us to allow 1, 2, or 3 corporations to like make all of our food for us and farm the whole entire United States. Like that's crazy. the you know, on top of that, like I think that people are going to really have to start diversifying their incomes. Like, where are your incomes coming from? Where your incomes in the future are going to be coming from? You know, small portions of income. That really is going to be something that is really evident in the future. Just having one job and working there like 50, 60 hours a week is basically not going to exist in, you know, I'd say 15 years from now. Like, that's not really going to exist at all. And, you know, the evidence is there from what the corporate entities are doing is they're basically getting rid of the full-time employee and just getting rid of that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, you just mentioned that Mike Brennan just said move to the middle of nowhere, and 2 weeks later there's a Starbucks next door. You know, whether it be Starbucks or UPS or Amazon or whoever, there are a ton of companies out there now that only hire at like 26 hours a week and stuff like that. 22 hours a week, 24 hours a week. Oh, we got you at 28 hours a week. You're doing pretty good. But you're not a full-time employee, so it's not a big deal. So we can pay you this like crazy low wage. You don't have to pay your insurance, any of that kind of stuff. So, you know, corporations have been doing that more and more. Plus, the automation thing is going to happen. Self-driving cars, all that kind of stuff is really going to kick a lot of it's going to pull a lot of rugs out from under people, if you know what I mean. So, you know, 54 Punchy is talking about Wyoming. I plan to move to Wyoming. That's kind of part of my plan. Maybe Wyoming, maybe Idaho, something like that. But it definitely is one of those things. Jennifer MWB says, I would love to live out in the middle of nowhere. However, you cannot live that way these days in this country. The jobs aren't there, and you can't live without a job. Well, I would argue that because more often than not, every time I'm out in one of those cities, there are jobs, signs for people needed at jobs. People need to be working. They need trained people out there. Even if you're just talking about the healthcare situation, you definitely need healthcare out in those areas. You know, there's areas in Washington State that don't even have like a senior care facility, and it's not because they don't have the money or the people there or any of that kind of stuff. They don't have the workers. There are no workers out in the peninsula out there to employ in those facilities. So they've decided to shut them down because they couldn't staff them. But yes, you know, I know a lot of people have moved out to areas which they think are kind of crazy, and they go, well, you know, I live 30 miles from my work. And these are some personal examples that I know about. They live like 30 miles away from their work, but it's only a 30-minute drive to their work. Whereas here's a perfect example. I used to live 8 miles from my house, and it would take me an hour and a half to get to work. So then I started riding my bicycle to work, but that would still take a long time because the traffic, I couldn't get across traffic. It's just a disaster. But you know, Rogue Aquarium says stay in Tacoma. Yeah, I mean, we own a house here. It's not like we're going to go running down the street and escape into the sky or anything like that. But, you know, it is our long-term plan. I have no plans to move to Alaska, even though we will be going to Alaska to visit some more shortly here in the next, like, when is that? 4 weeks from now? 3 weeks? I don't know. I don't know when that is. I need a calendar to look at, but that is my long-term goal. It's one of the reasons that we are doing the garden vlogs here is to start showing. We're gonna start. You know, it's just showing people like with pretty minimal. I mean, it is some effort, but it's not a lot of money or anything like that we've put into our garden. But it is. You know, it is kind of. Like, it's more effort than anything else. You know, it's a couple hours here, a couple hours there. That's really like one of the reasons why we're doing the garden vlog. Just kind of show some people. Patrick's Aquatics says, I think Kentucky is a decent balance of civilization and where we at, man. I wouldn't disagree with that. I enjoyed Kentucky when I was there. My sister actually lives in Lexington and Louisville. She commutes back and forth from Lexington to Louisville. And I enjoyed Kentucky quite a bit. I liked it. I don't think I'm going to move there. My main downside with Kentucky is no mountains, I guess. I don't know. And it was Kentucky. No mountains. No mountains, though. Problematic. Lotad says, I'd love to move out. The Bay Area is not affordable at all. You're right. You're right. The Bay Area, when I was just there, it's not affordable at all. At all. James Neesham says, won't be long until someone complains, isn't this a fish channel? Yeah, this is a fish channel, but this is the end of the show. We can kind of ramble on at the end of the show. The video portion is really at the beginning of the show, and yeah, so we just kind of talk about whatever as we come up on the end of the show here for the day, and that's just kind of how it goes. Let's see. Licks Nibbles says, I'd rather move to Yakima than Lexington. 100% agree with you on that one. I'd rather move to Walla Walla than Yakima or Lexington. But I also would rather move to Baker City, Oregon. I'm going to tell you something. When I just stand on the main street. Let's just say I'm standing on the main street in Baker City, Oregon. I feel like I'm at home. I feel like this is a spot that I could put my roots down. How do I know that kind of stuff? I don't know. It's just sort of a weird vibe. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I've just sort of known when I've been at places like, yeah, I could live here, or no. I don't know why. I'm never a sucker for the I'm on vacation thing, though, either. I don't fall for that old trick. I don't fall for that old trick. People fall in love with, people fall in love with like Houston, Texas or something because they think it's awesome when they were on vacation and then they move there and hate it. 54 Punchy lived in Baker years and years ago. I think 54 Punchy and Vicky Toria and myself and our kid and everybody, we should move back to Baker and take over like a whole block on that main street or something and open a giant Fish Mayhem aquaponics center art madness. I definitely want to live more out in the sticks, that's for sure, but I do want to live close enough to some of the amenities. Like I do like to be able to go to a hardware store, but we all have to keep in mind that like companies like Amazon are bringing those communities that are way out there much closer these days. If you can just 2-day order something and it just get delivered by the mail, the stuff that you used to have to drive like 3 hours for, like the downsides start going away. If let's say 60% of your income, let's say 60% of your income was online sales, like 54 Punchy, she's an artist. She does these beautiful, amazing paintings. If she was selling those online, she wouldn't need to live in downtown New York City, right? Because of the internet now. She'd be able to sell them, ship them, and send them where they needed to go. There's a lot more independent. Ways to make money now. One of them was one of these things that I noticed the other day. Where did my stupid tab here go? Let me find it. What was it? X table? What the hell is that called? No, that's not going to do it. Ooh, I know what to do. C and C. Let me see what we got here. Let me see if I can't find what I was looking at. Okay, here we go. Here's like a decent example. Now, I know a bunch of people are going to tell me that like this thing's a piece of junk or whatever. Like I get it, but hold on, where was that? Okay, here we go. So check out this link. So this is a really crappy one. I get it. But this is a tabletop CNC machine, right? For $213. Now, most people, especially people like watching this show, you probably have a computer, you have a tablet, you have something like that, whatever. Like, here's a perfect example of like a small business that somebody could have at their house that CNC router, that's how you do all the crazy cutouts and things. And somebody was asking me like, yeah, I get that, like, that's a thing, but like, what are you talking about that you could make stuff out of it? Well, you could easily be DIYing plant trays for people's aquariums, frag racks for people's aquariums. You could be making your own custom like reactors, whatever cutouts. You could be making KG cichlids signs for people, like KG cichlids, and then sending it to those dudes, right? Like maybe because you have the router, you have the program, and you have that stuff. Maybe you're gonna make one out of acrylic for him or something, and then you tell him, it's like, oh, it's like $40 for this one. And he's like, oh, cool. Send you the $40. You make it, ship it to them. That's like a perfect example. Like you could just start a little home business right there with something that back in the day would have been virtually impossible, So I just think that there's just so many availabilities now to very minimally start up your stuff. If you've got a little bit of motivation, you've got a little bit of time, and you just start doing it incrementally, you could really get there. Lexi V has got to go. It was nice catching a live show after missing several. Time to go home. See you all next time. Good to see you, Lexi. Have a good one. I know we're just kind of yammering on. Lotad says Amazon Prime is not a sponsor. By the way, if you sign up for Amazon Prime through my affiliate, Amazon Prime actually is a sponsor. If you guys buy stuff through my Amazon affiliates link, that link, the Amazon affiliates link, Amazon actually is a sponsor. I do get taxed for all of it, by the way, if I make $5 or $50, which is sometimes it's $5, sometimes it's 40, I get fully taxed on all that. It's all reported. It goes onto my income and all that stuff too. So, it's legit. I am an Amazon associate. So if you are thinking about signing up for Amazon Prime, go through the link, sign up for it, and they're like, "Thanks, bro." So, if you guys do buy stuff from Amazon, buy through my affiliate. The easiest way to get to it, you can go to my YouTube homepage. There's a little button at the top, or you can go to darkstararts.com. There's a button on there, too, to check on it. It doesn't change the price or anything. Just says that I sent you. Johnny Zelaya set up a 6-gallon tank, used cycled water from another tank, and cycled media. How long should I give it before putting shrimp in it? Cycled water won't do anything for you, just as a heads up. Cycled water does nothing. Cycled water is not going to do anything for you. Now, cycled media, typically about 24 hours, and it will be seeding and doing quite well. Just make sure that the temperature is where you want it to be. Let it cycle and run through. Mike Brunnan says, hi, glad I made another live Corvus stream. Well, I'm glad you made it too. Kind of running through here real quickly because we're coming up on the end of the show. I got to jam and try to make it to the store real quick. So I can get dinner ready for Victoria. KG Cichlid says, hashtag Fluvol's finally feeding Joel. Yeah, they're sending out some lights for the reef, so hopefully we'll be able to get the reef stuff from them. But big thank you to 54 Punchy for the $5. Big thanks to Neil for the super chat. Big thanks to Priscilla MK Art for the super chat. Rogue Aquariums, thank you very much. Rory had to leave, but thanks for the super chat, my guy. And along with Fancy Tail Aquatics, muchas gracias, mi amigos. Wait, what's this? Whoa, okay. Oh, and Elias Garcia Vargas, thank you very much for the patronization today, upping the ante. Love it. Big time help. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of getting to the making one edited video a month. Making one edited video a week. I already do that anyhow. But if you guys didn't check out the Bentley Pascal video, check that one out. Share it out with your friends. Share it out with your mom. Share it out with your grandma. All those people. Share it out with anyone you've ever met in your entire life. Just do that, and it will be cool. But everybody out there, have a fantastic Wednesday. I got to get rolling and get over to that there store. Johnny's Elias saying, do we do the like spike already? Yeah, just hit the like button, you guys. 4, 3, 2, one like button. Ugh. All right, guys, later.